It was kind of a double move. We landed in 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 Melbourne in March of 2020, and we lived there for 11 months. But the weather was quite tough, and the COVID was tougher. We got an opportunity to move to Brisbane, and we took it. Luckily, we got it, and we moved to Brisbane 6 weeks ago. So we've been in Brisbane for 6 weeks.
I'm Dr. Chamonix Blanche, ex-corporate and academical, turned CEO and board member of several companies, and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created Chamonix TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids hearing down under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Dean. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from beautiful Brisbane today. How have you been?
I've been quite well since we made the move to Brisbane. It's been things are looking up, so things are going good.
And how long ago did you make that big move?
It was kind of a double move. We landed in Melbourne in March of 2020, and we lived there for 11 months. But the weather was quite tough, and the COVID was tougher. We got an opportunity to move to Brisbane, and we took it. Luckily, we got it, and we moved to Brisbane 6 weeks ago. So we've been in Brisbane for 6 weeks.
Wow, so 2 big moves in basically 1 year. Brave people. And what's been the hardest, the move to Melbourne or the move to Brisbane?
Whoa, that's a good question. So the move to Melbourne was harder. It was a bigger closure of a chapter, of one chapter in your life. Harder to say goodbye for friends and family because everybody was there. Your roots are there, and now you're rooting up and moving. Whereas the second move from Melbourne to Brisbane was much easier. You didn't have the roots, and you just had the trauma of that packing and unpacking.
So you brought all your stuff from South Africa, or how big was your move?
So we had 6 bags in total. It was my wife and I. We had 6 bags, and I shipped additional 6 boxes. I shipped over. They came 6 months after we've arrived. So we waited for those few boxes, little things that we like to keep, and clothes. Didn't want to start completely new. So that came 6 months later. And as you unpack that, it was kind of like a gift. So it was familiarity, it was good times, it was memories.
So tell me, why did you what visa did you come on, and how did you manage to come in the middle of COVID?
So it was the process started before COVID. The decisions that factored into our moving, personal decisions, I think it's very general now in terms of safety, security, finance, all of those factor in. Those guided us or motivated us to look for opportunities in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, places that people start looking for. And my wife came over. She's the critical skills. So the visa we came over is a TSS. It's temporary short skills visa. So it's TSS 482, and it's valid for 4 years. So, and with that, it's a work sponsored visa. So my wife had interviews. She first got the job, and then the application for the visa got rolling, and it's work sponsored. So the work that she got helped us, or is how we got over.
So what is her occupation?
She is a physiotherapist, and she works for a company that within Australia, they work government-based. I'm going to tell you now, the NDIS, National Disability. Yeah.
Insurance scheme.
That's it. So
yes, which is one of the which the NDIS is one of the amazing support systems that we have in Australia for people with disabilities, as you would know.
It is amazing.
It's incredible once you start living here to realize what are all the things that you can qualify for if you have a disability, or if you have low income, because then there's low income support. If you have a different language, like there's all these support systems in place. If you want to start a business, there's a support system to help you learn about small business, big business, any kind of business. So it's been such a learning curve, I'm sure, for you moving.
Definitely, and to see how a government can support their people is inspiring as well. It's fresh, it's new, and it's exciting. So that's great. That's a good feeling to have.
So how old are you guys, Dean?
I turned 35 this year. My wife is 1 year younger than me.
Okay, so 34, 35, that's the perfect age range to come into Australia. Well, if you can come earlier, that's great, but in terms of the points system, between 25 and 35 is when you get the most points. Now tell me, Dean, do you work?
I recently got a job, so it was a bit of a struggle to get a job. I think Australia has a very strong job market, so it is competitive, and they have, I think, a lot of applicants applying for one position.
That's awesome. Is that something similar you did in South Africa?
It's very similar, yes. So my background did assist with me getting the contract position, and which might also have helped a little bit was the fact that the quality managers, and it's also an ex-South African, might have had a little bit of influence.
It certainly helps, because they understand the kind of people we are, and that we're hardworking usually, and that they do get good quality for their buck, bang for their buck, as you would say, by employing South Africans. Dean, how has settling in, I know you've only been in Brisbane for a short while, but how has settling in socially been for you guys in Melbourne, even though COVID made it really hard?
So in Melbourne, it was near impossible. Melbourne had a very strict lockdown. They reduced it was a period of 6 to 7 months that you couldn't go outside of your home or visit anybody within a 5-kilometer radius.
And tell me a little bit about your place that you're living in Brisbane now. You're in the CBD, or whereabout are you guys?
So we tried to locate a place that's halfway where my prospective work would have been and my wife's work. So we tried to find a central point, and so it did work out kind of like that. My role is also in procurement, and so it's offer support. And I was looking for work in the CBD, so I would have traveled into the city. We got a little place in the suburb called Chermside. It is a apartment style setup, just because I think the properties are a bit more expensive. Obviously, where you look, if it's a popular suburb, it's going to be more expensive. The housing styles all depends. We found a little place that suits our budget and our locational needs.
And Chermside is fabulous. You've got the most beautiful shopping centre there. So if you ever feel lonely or don't know what to do, just go shopping. It's good retail therapy. It's not so good for the budget, but hey, no. Thank you so much, Dean. It's been really lovely hearing how you've moved to Australia and your whole story about settling in. I'm so glad that you guys managed to find another opportunity in Brisbane, because if you move halfway around the world and you settle in a city where for some reason there's something that doesn't sit well with you, in your case it was pretty much the weather, really, because COVID comes and goes. But it's great that you realized that was the situation, and you sought to go to Brisbane as opposed to deciding you're packing up and heading back to South Africa, because often that's the easy way out, people think. So good on you for taking that leap into Brisbane. I'm so glad that you guys are there. It's a fabulous city.
It is.
And would you have any advice for other South Africans considering coming to Australia? What would you say to them?
It's kind of a mixed bag, I think. I think my keynote would be prepare yourself for the unfamiliarity. So if you go to a shopping center, don't expect to find everything is new. Everything is new. Even your toothpaste that you'll get is unfamiliar. Everything is new. So from your toothpaste, your tomato sauces, all your sauces, you won't find even a simple thing like a soup sauce packet. That was so easy, so common to find in South Africa. You don't find it regularly. You have to go out, you have to go look for it. So it is a challenge. Prepare yourself just even for the little things.
That's true. It is a challenge. But if you have the right set of mind, knowing that you're moving countries.
Yep, it's inevitable. It will happen. You just, it falls between the cracks sometimes. You think, no, it's shopping. Shopping is easy. You'll find a quick replacement. But it's not that easy. There was an instance where my wife and myself, we used dishwashing liquid as a softener for 6 months. So we washed with a powder and then we rinsed with a soapy liquid. So that was lovely.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, goody. They say bad decisions make for good stories. You don't think it's a bad decision that you make at the time, because obviously you won't make it. You'll try and make a good decision, but it's always funny afterwards. You
I can read, I'll see.
Oh, it's so funny. Thanks, Dean. I really appreciate you sharing your story with our viewers and just giving that little bit of encouragement, because you will remember that before you moved to Australia, it was an unknown territory and you didn't know what to expect. So by hearing people's moves like yours, it just makes it that little bit easier for people to know what to expect, like don't expect the familiarity in shopping centers. And giving encouragement that if you do move to the first city and it's not what you had in mind, then just try and pursue another one, because there might be something else that's more suited.
For a long run, you've committed, so just try something else for a little bit.
Absolutely. Enjoy your afternoon, and thanks again for chatting with us. I'd love to catch up with you again in a year or two's time to hear how you've settled into Brisbane.
That'll be awesome. I'm open to it. Please keep in contact.
Awesome. Thanks, Dean. We'll do so. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.